Hello, everyone. Good evening, and welcome to our Traveling Thursday. We are traveling to Cozumel today, and on the screen here with me, you can see Laura and Michael. They are from Dive Paradise, our presenters tonight, and then Irene, our office manager, with me here. And I have stayed in our office today. I don't know if you can see that on the screen, but I have a map of Cozumel right behind me, which has been on my office wall since like forever. So I thought that would be a good, suitable reason to actually stay here and host this meeting here from the office tonight. So for those of you who have been on these webinars with us before, you roughly know what to expect, but I do want to give just a quick overview of what to expect tonight. We'll do a few introductions on our company so everyone knows who they're dealing with. We will talk a little bit about travel insurance tonight and about the various contests that we have for our 25th anniversary. Then we'll be heading over to Cozumel. We'll learn about the history and the diving in Cozumel and why you want to dive with Dive Paradise. And then we have time at the end for question and answers. There might be a surprise tonight. And then we'll also feature the next day. And we will post this as a video on our YouTube channel. And it's also always linked on our newsletter that you can get next week, as well as on our website. And keep your questions towards the end, and then we will ask you to put the questions in the chat so that we then can have Michael and Laura go through them and answer them for us. So, a little bit about us. This is our team here. Many of you have dealt with one or more than one of us. And we have been doing dive travel, that's right, since 1997, which means we are celebrating our 25th anniversary this year. And most of you have heard more than once about that. There's a lot of experience combined with us, and we do work as a team. So that is important to emphasize that it's not one person dealing with your file. We do this as a team. And we pretty much represent every dive destination in the world, every reputable liveaboard, dive resort, and dive operator. Even if sometimes they're maybe not featured on our website, those of you who deal with websites know that it is a long work in progress. And as soon as you get one up there, the other one changes its name. So it's please don't ever think that that list on our website is all that we're doing. We are IATA appointed, which means we have control over the airline tickets that we're issuing, and that's a huge advantage, not necessarily needing to be on the phone with the airline. And then a lot of you who are on this call here today with us know that we are doing groups as well as individuals. Many of you have joined a group. A lot of the groups that we're organizing are organized through a dive shop, and then anybody can join in. Or if you either don't want to travel with a group, or the groups don't go where you're looking to go, or the time period that you would like to go is a different period, we absolutely do individuals when they want to travel, where they want to travel, how they want to travel, and how long. Travel insurance, and we know from all the calls and the comments that this is something that is super important these days, and also is something that a lot of people are more aware of. And I just wanted to highlight a couple of things on travel insurance. And a lot of that actually applies to Canadians, not as much to Americans, because the American travel insurance that we sell is just a lot broader and doesn't have the same restrictions as the Canadian ones, but important to cover yourself as well as your trip investment with travel insurance. And that is a very broad term. One important benefit that at the moment for Americans is not available, but for Canadians can be available, is a benefit called cancel for any reason. And you got it. There is a benefit that you can cancel for any reason. You don't get 100% of your trip cost back, but you get a good chunk of your trip cost back. So the important piece with that to keep in mind is that you need to purchase your insurance within 72 hours of making your initial trip deposit. And so you need to think about insurance at the same time that you're thinking about booking a trip. And there's other benefits that come with that as well. There is a policy that is only available if you book it within 72 hours of making your initial trip deposit, which is called a premium protection plan. And that is, for Canadians, the best coverage that you can get. Also, sometimes people ask us, I just want to buy cancellation insurance. And so, yes, cancellation insurance is absolutely important, but consider a package. And when you go on our website, you can see packages there. It can still be a package without medical coverage if you have that through your work, for example. But a package has way more benefits than if you buy trip cancellation only. So think about that. There is a pandemic plan that can be important, especially when there is a travel advisory. The pandemic plan covers quarantine. Should you test positive in destination, now have to stay in paradise maybe, but still you want to go home and you have to stay there longer and all the costs that's involved with that. So that's an important coverage to have. How to buy this. And now this is where it gets complicated. If you live in BC, that's the easiest. We can talk to you, we can counsel you, we can send you emails, we can quote you, or you can go to our website. If you live in the US, pretty much the same. Call us, email us, go to our website. If you live in Canada but not in BC, unfortunately, at this point, we cannot give you advice about travel insurance. It's regulated provincially. And so you can go to our website if you know what you're looking for and you know what you want, or you can call this phone number, and you don't need to jot it down right now. We can provide that phone number for you at Manulife, quote our agency code, and then they can give you more advice if you have questions. Where do you find this on our website? Well, go to flync.com. Then you click on the menu button, and up comes the menu on the right-hand side, and there is travel insurance right there. So that's how you can find this on our website. Enough of the boring stuff. We have asked you this last month, since the 25th of January, to provide us with your top 3 dive destinations. And out of that, we have compiled the top 25 dive destinations loved by our clients. And that will be published tomorrow, because tomorrow is the 25th. And as you may know by now, 25 is going to be, or is an important number for us this year. So the top 25 dive destinations will be published along with the draw, because everybody who entered or provided with us with their pick of the top 3 destinations has been entered into a draw for a $100 gift certificate. And that will be published. Obviously, we'll reach out to you directly if you're the winner, but it will also be published on our social media channels tomorrow. I'm not quite sure yet if we have the time to actually go live on Facebook, but that may be the case. So stay tuned for that. We will also, and you're going to get a quick little preview on that tonight, is we will publish our next 25 contest. And the next contest, what we want to hear from you is list at least 2 reasons why you love to travel. So assuming that out among you there's more than 2 reasons, we will compile a list of the top 25 reasons why our clients, why divers love to travel. And then that will be published again in our March newsletter, and the draw will be on March 25th. And those months go quicker than we actually think. Submit that to contest@flyatSea.com or find it on Facebook and Instagram. And just a quick reminder, our 25th anniversary prize is 9 nights in the Philippines at Magic Resorts. And you can enter, or you're automatically entered if you book a dive vacation with us between January 1st and December 1st of this year. With that, now, I want to introduce, or maybe they don't require introduction, Dive Paradise to you. Dive Paradise is close to my heart because I remember my very first dive vacation that I ever booked for someone was to Cozumel with Dive Paradise. They go back a long time. So there is quite a legacy there, and Michael and his team are trying to do that justice. So before I think I pass on the screen share to Michael and Laura, we're going to have a little bit of eye candy, and we're going to watch a short little video to get us in the mood to now travel to the tropics and dive and travel with Dive Paradise. Alrighty, Michael, it's yours.
All right.
Thank you for joining us tonight. We're very privileged to have you join us and tell us about diving and being in Cozumel.
Well, thanks so much for having me and having us. Excellent. Well, thanks again to Petra and Fly and Sea, and to all of you for taking the time to learn a little bit more about Cozumel and Dive Paradise. Petra's already introduced us. I'm Michael Penwarden. Also with me is Laura Alcala Ortega, who is the general manager. And just a couple high points. We do have the island's largest fleet. We've got multiple locations on the island, and we even have a private beach area for our customers. I'll start with a little geography lesson for those who need it. Cozumel's on the northwestern edge of the Caribbean Sea, just off of the Yucatan Peninsula, south of Cancun. And if you look at the satellite photo on the right-hand side, you can see the city of San Miguel is the developed area. The airport is just to the north of it. And then you can see the one lonely road, the Transversal, that cuts across the middle of the island to the other side. And the rest of the island is largely unspoiled, and the other side has no electricity and is a wonderful place to go and have time to commune with nature and have some adventures as well. And we'll talk more about that. One of my favorite sayings in Cozumel is that if you haven't heard a rumor by 10 o'clock in the morning, it's your turn to start one. And one of the most prevalent rumors about diving in Cozumel that I've encountered is that Jacques Cousteau put Cozumel diving on the map with his award-winning film in the late 50s, The Silent World, and that really kicked off the Cozumel dive industry and dive tourism in Cozumel. Unfortunately, the fly in the ointment there is that film was filmed in the Mediterranean and the Red Sea and was not filmed in Mexico at all. The theory is that film did inspire a Mexican filmmaker named Rene Cardona, who produced shortly thereafter a film called Un Mundo Nuevo, which is a new world. And I think through the sands of time, these two films got compressed together in people's minds, and that's how the rumor that Jacques Cousteau discovered Cozumel diving came to be. It wasn't until many years later that Cousteau actually came to the island. But all that aside, the reality is that Cozumel is a world-class dive destination. And not only that, but it is very convenient for Americans and Canadians to get to with direct flights from many cities in the United States. And once you get to Cozumel, it's a fantastic value. It's very affordable. So it's a great place for divers to get world-class diving at a great value. We'll move from the geography class into the history class for a couple minutes. Cozumel originally was a Mayan pilgrimage site, and it was a place for women and girls to come and make contributions, offerings to the goddess of fertility, the moon goddess of fertility. And it was ruled over by a female priestess. And the ruins of San Gervaso, which are shown here, are in the middle of the island and are still definitely worth a visit today to learn more about the Mayan history of the island. In 1519, Hernan Cortez landed on the island and used it as the base of his conquest of Mexico and Belize. So his arrival marked a significant and permanent change in the island, resulting in the destruction of many Mayan temples and ultimately an outbreak of smallpox, so that within a few decades of his arrival, a thriving population of around 40,000 people had been reduced to a couple of dozen people. So an epic tragedy. After that time, it took a long time for the island to find its feet. There are dubious rumors about pirates using the island as a base of operations. Abraham Lincoln even considered purchasing the island, and chewing gum was originally sourced from the trees on the island. So if you're interested in all of these stories, there's a fantastic museum on the island, just on the northern end of town. And another tip is that if you're hungry after visiting the museum, the restaurant that sits on its roof is fantastic. All of that brings us to today. And today, Cozumel is a natural paradise and truly is a diver's paradise. It sits at the northern end of the Great Mesoamerican Reef, which, as most of you know, is the second largest barrier reef after the Great Barrier Reef in Australia. It's 700 miles long, stretching, all the way down past the coast of Belize, and is host to numerous species of coral and fish. And luckily for all of us, the area of the reef that is of the Mesoamerican Reef that is on the southern edge of Cozumel, shown here, is a national marine park, and that's where we get to all experience Cozumel's world-class diving. So the marine park was federally protected in the 90s and boasts of 27 separate dive sites with depths ranging from 15 feet to 120 feet. It is drift diving, as there's a current that flows between Cozumel and the mainland. And for those of you who haven't experienced it, it's wonderful in that you drop off your boat and enjoy your dive. The current carries you along, and when you're ready to surface, you come up and the boat has been tracking along with you and is right there ready to pick you back up. It makes for really effortless experiences, and we are able to calibrate depending on conditions where we go so that the current is really friendly for us. And then the highlight, of course, is that the visibility is just absolutely endless. You can see almost as far underwater in Cozumel as you can above water, and that makes it just extra incredible, really special for those who haven't experienced it. As far as the weather in Cozumel, on land, the winters are pleasant, very warm and comfortable, and then in the summer it's a little bit warmer and a little bit more humid. But both seasons are fantastic times to visit, and the water temperatures fluctuate a little bit, but are bathtub warm and, like I said, crystal clear. So it's always inviting, and Cozumel is a great time to travel to year round. When you come to Cozumel, you have a lot of options in terms of places to stay. I won't go into detail on all of them, but certainly we can help with that either in the Q&A, or we work closely with Fly and Sea on finding the perfect place for you. There are 3 hotel zones on the island. North of the airport is home to a number of secluded upscale options. There's a country club with a golf course up at that end of the island. The knock on staying up there for divers is that it is farthest from the reef. So if you enjoy hopping out of your bed and heading out to the pier and hopping on a boat and heading out to the reefs, then the north is probably not the best option for you. The Centro area is around the city of San Miguel, which means that it's really walkable, and it's a delight to explore the shops and the many restaurants that are available in that region. The knock there is it is busier, but busy is a very relative term, and we want to use it carefully here because we're certainly not talking about Cancun or Playa del Carmen busy. Cozumel is a laid-back island, and so busy is very, very relative. South of town, that's where the white sand beach resorts are, and that is where the resorts are that are closest to the reefs. And the knock on that is that it is farthest from town. So if you're someone who wants to enjoy restaurants in town or shopping, you're going to need to take a cab to and from in order to get there. We may be a little biased, but we have one strong recommendation, which we think is a sweet spot for dive travelers, and that's Cozumel Hotel and Resort, which used to be Hotel Cozumel and Resort, and now is Cozumel Hotel and Resort. Recently became part of the Wyndham family. It is a hotel that offers both all-inclusive and European plans. It boasts the largest pool on the island, and importantly, it has a dive paradise location on site. It's close enough to town that it's a very easy and pleasant walk, and it's also a great value. And we work very closely with the hotel on some great stay and dive packages, which you can learn about through Fly and Sea. And you can see our pier right there, as well as our training pool right there on the side. So you can, and there's a tunnel. There's a road between the hotel itself and our dive shop, and there's a tunnel that actually goes underneath the street and pops out right in our dive shop. So you can literally leave your room and be on our pier in just a matter of a couple minutes. So it's very, very convenient. A lot of people like to stay in the room until they see the dive boats starting to arrive, and then they head down and meet them as they come in. So once you've figured out your dive package and your stay and where you're going to stay, then Dive Paradise can also take it a step further and help you find some additional adventures to add on as you want to customize your stay at Cozumel. We're proud to have worked to develop a lot of really nice add-on excursions that fit with our values and are really high quality. We work, one of our most popular is the whale shark excursion that happens from June to September every year. And in that trip, you take the ferry boat across to the mainland, and then our driver picks you up and takes you to meet a boat. And then you go out past Isla Mujeres into the Caribbean Sea. It's an all-day trip, but once you find whale sharks, you get a chance to jump in the water and snorkel alongside them. You can't dive with the sharks, but you can snorkel with them. And it's an incredible kind of bucket list experience for a lot of people. We also coordinate cenote dives on the mainland, fishing charters, including on Kai Kib, which is actually owned by Laura, who's also on this call, our general manager. Jungle tours. In June and July, the turtles come to the far side and nest on the island. And in September, the hatchlings emerge from the sand and head to the ocean. And that's another special thing to experience if you're lucky enough to be here during that time. And there's lots more we could talk about in terms of adventures and things that we can do to put together the perfect dive and adventure trip for you, depending on your interests and needs. So all of this is to say that we consider ourselves to be more than just a dive shop. We really want to be your concierge, and with our partnership with Fly & Sea, we really want to help you to create your perfect package, and that's whether you're traveling with a big group or just with yourself or with a small group. We can customize things and cater to your needs. We have a very experienced team, and we are also a PADI 5-star scuba school, which means your vacation with us is a perfect time to add some additional certifications to your resume. Everything from advanced open water to nitrox to drift diving, deep diving, we can handle and bake into your diving experience when you're with us. And we really are a family-owned company and have been a family for many, many years with a passionate focus on customer service. We also really care about being a leader. As the largest dive operator on the island, we want to set an example. We've done so by eliminating single-use plastic on all of our boats. So when you do come travel with us, we ask you to bring your own refillable water bottle, and we provide filtered drinking water on all of our boats, but we want you to bring your own bottle. And of course, we have bottles available should you forget or need another one. But we're trying to eliminate as much single-use plastic as we possibly can. We also have switched our diesel boats to biodiesel, and we are working in conjunction with scientific research and education, always trying to advance understanding of conservation and care for the reefs and best practices for tourism on the reefs. In addition, Dive Paradise prides itself on being a leader in working with adaptive divers, who are divers that have physical limitations, and adaptive diving is working with them to allow them to dive as independently as possible. And so all of our instructors and much of our staff are trained in adaptive diving practices. We can train adaptive divers. We can train adaptive buddies. We're certified in transferring adaptive divers in wheelchairs from our peers to our boats and in and out of the water. So that's really, honestly, for me, was something that this is an incredibly experienced staff. Laura and I should really add up how many years of experience in the industry are represented on the staff, but it would be a pretty impressive number. Just a couple notes on our fleet. We, as I said, have the largest fleet on the island. We've been in the process of making upgrades to them. One of the criticisms in the early days was that our fast boats, which you see in the front of the picture on the left, top left there, didn't have sunshades, and so people were complaining that they were exposed to the elements for the boat rides out to the reefs. We've been adding sunshades to those boats, and we've been upgrading engines as we've gone along. So our fleet is really in great shape. And again, because of the size of our fleet, that gives us a lot more flexibility, and it gives us the ability to really cater to your needs. So if you're a small family or a few individuals that want a private charter and set your own agenda, we can absolutely handle that. If you're a large group of dozens of people and you want to all be diving and hanging out together, we can also handle that. So we really want to be able to work with you to create the ultimate vacation for you. And we also have our own private beach, which is a great amenity, especially for groups. Our staff will do a homemade taco party for a group. We'll bring you over on our boats and cook up a taco party and enjoy the sunset together, and then take you home on our boat. So it's a really nice way to spend an evening after diving with our staff and get to know people and have some authentic Mexican food. So we hope that all of this information is inspiring you to come and make a splash with us. We're proud of our company and what we have to offer, and we would love to share it with all of you. And we welcome any and all questions. And thank you very much for the time to listen to what we have to say.
Awesome. Thank you, Michael. For this, we will continue and take some time for some questions and answers. Then we can probably learn a lot more from that as well. So Irene, do you want to just go ahead?
One of the first questions here is that in terms of location, is there a shop in Playa del Carmen or just on Cozumel?
Our shops are all located on Cozumel. So we do arrange trips to Playa del Carmen, but our base of operations is in Cozumel. So we have a shop in downtown Cozumel and San Miguel. Then we have our hotel Cozumel Hotel, location, and then we have the Villa Blanca Beach location, which is a little bit further south of that. But yes, all of them are on Cozumel.
Terry is asking, are the cruise ships currently going into Cozumel? And or when is the cruise ship season? I guess maybe to avoid it.
Cruise ships have returned to the island. Laura, do you want to give an update on exactly what the schedule looks like right now from your point of view?
Yes. Cruise ships are currently back, and they are in a small amount. We are receiving around 20% cruise ships of the ones that we used to have before the pandemic. We've seen that they are trying to go back to normal little by little, and we see that they are arriving with maybe 50% of the passengers that they used to have. And of course, they have lots of restrictions, and they have special tours. Hopefully they are going to get normal, probably, but it's going to take some time. We are seeing it that they're getting back to normal very slowly. Unlikely our industry of the dive business and hotel business. It seems on the preference of the hotel people to come and stay with us within the island and the hotels rather than on a cruise ship. I guess because due all the restrictions they have right now.
Sandra is asking that they prefer to dive with small groups and just adults. Would that be a problem?
Absolutely not. We, as I said, because we have a large fleet, we really pride ourselves on being able to hear what people want and working with them to get them on the right boat. So we ask people to fill out a diver questionnaire. We try and collect as much information as possible so we understand people's levels of experience and whether they want to avoid being with children or with large groups. And like I said, if you really want to just be with your group, we can handle that as well. We have small groups that seat only 6 passengers, and we can set those up just for you. So it's up to you. We can work with you on all levels.
Ted is asking, when your dive leaders are working, do they dive morning and afternoon, 2 dives each trip?
The answer from a diving point of view is that we do offer both morning and afternoon dives. We're careful not to have them overdive. But Laura, do you want to add anything to that?
Sure. We have an 8:30 trip, a 2-tank dive. It's usually 4 or 4.5 hours, where the first dive is performed to maximum 80 feet, and it takes like an hour. And then they have 1 hour strictly or more, if needed, of surface interval. Second dive is done after that hour. And then we can have, they are not very popular, the afternoon trips, who leaves dock at 2:30 p.m. Also for the same schedule, 2-tank dive with 1 hour of surface interval. Right now we have a team of 12 dive masters, and each one of them goes out on 2 tanks per day, maximum 3 tanks per day. And that means probably a twilight dive or a night dive.
Adrian, we typically do 85-minute dives in Cozumel with a competitor. Can you accommodate this?
Yes, 85-minute dive is not very usual. That's a special dive. And yes, we can do it. We can accommodate people of the same level of expertise or experience to be able to do 85 minutes dives. Or that also, we're not talking here about depth. So if we do a 40-feet dive, that's very easy to do for 85 minutes. It all depends.
Deborah is asking, are the corals healthy?
Lately, we've been hearing a lot about coral damages and coral diseases. We are very worried about the bleaching and about the white disease, if this is what you are referring to. Since 1997, this area is being protected, but there's always been a lot of construction in the Riviera Maya. And that was not into our site to protect the reefs. That construction of big resorts or parks or the development that has been in the Riviera Maya has been affecting the island. The good part or the good news are that people know it already, scientific know it already, groups and organizations know exactly what's going on, and we all are taking care of our part. We are trying to get our clients and our divers to be more conscious and be better divers, improve their skills, their buoyancy control, and it's a work all together. The reefs are in danger, but they are still healthy, and they are still nice and enjoyable. We're taking care of them.
Are they still opening and closing, alternating some dive sites to preserve those areas?
Yes, I was going to add that. That's a good question. There is a schedule of reef rest where they're cycling through and closing certain sites on a schedule so that those sites have a little break from traffic, and that's coinciding with a scientific study, as Laura was was saying. So some people worry that means that their favorite dive sites are not available. But as I said, there's 27 different sites. And so when a site is cycled through, there's still plenty of places to visit. So it hasn't really been an issue, but it's been something that's helping the reefs and helping the scientists to really get in and study and understand what's going on.
Kim is asking, how strong is the current and do you use hooks?
Don't use hooks. The current depends on the conditions, but it is typically a few knots, but it's not something. And like I said, we can calibrate where we take you depending on the conditions on a particular day. But no, you're not allowed to use hooks, and you're not allowed to touch anything or grab onto the reef.
Okay. Are gloves allowed while diving?
Not.
Or not, yeah.
Sarah is asking, can you arrange to go and volunteer with a Cozumel coral restoration?
Yes, we can arrange that. I know the leader of that project, and he's always open to have volunteers and help and especially know about the program. Yes, we can.
Okay. Is there any shore diving?
Yeah, yes, off of our Cozumel hotel location, we offer shore diving there. And in fact, with any of our dive packages, a welcome tank is included. So you get a free welcome tank with every dive package with us to check your buoyancy and get yourself situated. But we also offer tanks for night diving along the shore there as well. So yes, and some of our packages you can include unlimited shore diving.
Gary is asking, if one diver is low on air, does the entire group need to surface?
Not necessarily. It all depends on the experience of the group, the level of experience, and the expertise. That's something that the dive master has to evaluate and talk with the group and make a plan just in case this happens.
Kent is asking, is nitrox available? And if so, is there an upcharge?
Yes, nitrox is available. There is an upcharge for it. If you purchase it in advance, it's $10 per tank. On the island, it's $12 a tank, and that's there is a limited supply of nitrox tanks, so we have to manage them that way. Okay. But yes, it is available.
Ted is asking, have the lionfish all been removed? Are there healthy populations of the usual reef fish now?
We've been hunting for lionfish for a long time. And we cannot assure you that it's been all removed. We still have seen some, but in the sites that there's traffic, like in the within the marine park, you barely can see them, and we're very proud of that. That we've been, getting rid of them. So sorry, because it's a beautiful fish. I love them, and I hate to fish them. But they make also a good fillet.
A couple questions left here. Are there any non-drift sites?
April, May are the strongest currents. Paso del Cedral and maybe Santa Rosa Wall are known by the strongest currents, which are around 2 or 3 knots. It means sometimes, let me tell you, sometimes you can do 2 or 3 reefs in one dive. Normally you do one reef with 45 minutes, 50-minute dive at 50 feet, 60 feet. Santa Rosa, you dive it to 80 feet in like 45, 50 minutes. But with the strong currents, you can do both. That's the strongest current. in the area of Palancar by the bricks and the horseshoe Palancar Gardens, the shape of the reef makes like a little protected area where you can come and go without feeling any current. Other than that, maybe Colombia Shallows is a very spectacular area, 35 feet, full of, it's in the very south, but yes, you can barely feel the current over there.
The last question that I have here is, do the dive operators communicate an alternate spots so that each one doesn't have a huge influx of divers on a particular area?
Yes, we try to make a schedule to, or at least strategies, so we don't crowd or get into everybody's path, and we normally respect. We have kind of like a rule: if you get there, the divers go down, and then you wait around 8 to 10 minutes, or go farther to the current so you can drop again your divers. We try to keep the reef uncrowded.
That's fabulous. I think we've had a lot of various topics covering, I think, what hopefully gave everyone a really good overview of Cozumel diving and the dive operation with Dive Paradise. So we do have just a quick reminder of our 25th anniversary grand prize. Anybody booking a dive vacation with us this year gets entered into that. But then for tonight, we also have a surprise prize. If you're a regular attendee, that can sometimes happen. So thanks to that, a 2-for-1 stay and dive package with Dive Paradise and Cozumel Hotel, 7 nights, all inclusive, 5 days of 2-tank morning boat dives. So that's a pretty spectacular prize, if you ask me. So we actually bring up a website called random.org. And then the list of everyone who registered, you need to have registered by about 4 o'clock. Otherwise, you don't make it onto this list, just as a little aside. And so we do have registrations of 97 people here. And I know some of you are sharing screens. So we will go to 97 and... Okay, number 9, Sherry. Sherry, you just commented. You're number 9. All right. Well, we know Sherry is here because she just put a comment in there. Awesome, awesome. Lovely, lovely to have you here, and congratulations for you, Sherry. And thank you to Laura and Michael for joining us. Our next date is in 2 weeks, March 10th. We will be going to the Cayman Islands and learning more about Cayman Brac and Little Cayman with Clearly Cayman Resorts. Any questions, comments, please contact us. Various options available there. And if you ever have a suggestion of a destination that you would like to see featured, or an operator, resort, or liveaboard, please send those to us. We did get a suggestion just yesterday or this morning from, I think it was Deborah, to feature Tahiti at some point. So that may happen probably in the fall then at some point. So please keep them coming. And again, thank you so much for attending tonight. It's good to see you all. Sherry will be in touch with you to send you your gift certificate. And again, thank you, Laura. Thank you, Michael. And see you all in 2 weeks. Good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you. Bye-bye.